All right, welcome everybody to episode 25 of Life is Horror. This will be the Hulu episode. Every movie I will be discussing in this episode you can find on Hulu. Movies such as No One Will Save You or No One Can Save You. One of those. And Appendage, Clock, and Slotherhouse, which had a one-day premiere at the theaters back in like August. I could have went to go see it, but I chose not to. And after watching it, I'm glad I waited. Yeah, so yeah, spoiler for how I feel about that movie. And this episode will be about my top 25 favorite horror movie posters. So many posters to choose from. That's why I made it top 25, not top 10. And without further ado, let's get into some horror news topics. Not much to talk about. Michael Dougherty still keeps saying that Trick or Treat 2 is a possibility, but we've been hearing that since 2009. But he says that there is a script written for Trick or Treat 2, that there's multiple drafts. It's still a possibility. We might get it, but we still gotta wait for this actor's strike to get done. The writer's strike was finally completed a couple weeks ago, or a month ago, but now there's an actor's strike, so we gotta wait for that. And Stephen King has a new book. It's called You Like It Darker, and that's coming out next year. And supposedly it's going to feature a Cujo sequel story in this book next year. I'll be honest, I've never read a single Stephen King book. I'm not much of a reader. I prefer to watch movies. So, yeah, I don't have much to say about that. And Terrifier 3, I already talked about how it's going to be Christmas, set during Christmas, but it's coming out next October, not next December when you would want to watch a Christmas movie, but it's coming out October 25th of 2024, as long as, things go according to plan. Let's hope, this actor strike doesn't last forever. But wait, I think they already shot the movie, so I don't think that would affect Terrifier 3. It's already completed. There's a teaser trailer. You can find it on YouTube. So yeah, Terrifier 3. That's all I gotta talk about, really. There's not much to talk about. They're talking about there's some video game news. They're talking about The Last of Us getting a multiplayer thing still. I don't care. I'm not a multiplayer player. I like single player stuff, so that doesn't excite me. So yeah, I heard Grand Theft Auto 6 might be coming out, or I think they're working on it. And so that excites me more than The Last of Us multiplayer. I like Grand Theft Auto. So I guess let's get into these movie reviews. Let's talk about the first movie, Clock, on Hulu back in April. So it's been out for a while. All right. So what's this movie about? This is on the eve of her 38th birthday, a woman desperately attempts to fix her broken biological clock. Now, this movie, I wrote, it's written and directed by a woman who probably had too many people ask her, why don't you want kids? Probably had a lot of people judging her for not having any children. And I believe this was a directorial debut. And so, yeah, I can relate to the main character in this movie because I also don't want kids. And so, the movie is not scary, rarely tries to be. It has a bunch of hallucinations of like spiders and a tall ghost woman in black. That's about all the horror in it. It's a predictable movie with all the tropes of this kind of premise. Person gets new experimental treatment with horrible side effects. It's kind of like a Cronenberg movie in that, like Rabid or something. Like we've seen this kind of premise before. Someone gets some kind of new experimental thing done, and then there's horrible consequences, like, oh shit, the doctor didn't tell me I was gonna have this side effect. And then that's basically how this movie plays out. She gets this thing done to make her want to have children, and then it's like she goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. It's like she goes from not wanting kids, and then she gets this treatment done to make her want to have kids and be able to have them. And then it's like she's so about having children now because of it. And it's like comical how much she like wants kids. I forget some of the crazy shit she does. Doesn't she like start licking placenta at some point? Like, I don't know. It was pretty gross. And So yeah, she goes from one extreme to the other. They throw in a twist, and they don't. And the whole dad thing at the end, I guessed right away in the moment. The second act at the facility was dull. The acting was good though. The kid falling from the tree in the beginning scene was funny to me. Why wouldn't she say anything though? She sees a kid fall from a tree. It was a pretty nasty fall, and she doesn't say a fucking word. I thought that was weird. I guess it just shows how much she does not like children. So yeah, the opening foreshadowed the ending and makes you wonder how she keeps her business reputation positive. If every client of hers, ends up becoming crazy and wanting to kill themselves. That end scene felt a bit pretentious, and I didn't really understand if it was supposed to be like her final thoughts at the end. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, I thought this movie was all right. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I slightly recommend it. It's not going to be for everybody. It's not much of a horror movie. It's more of just kind of like a statement film. It's about a woman trying to get pregnant because she feels like she has to. That's what society, expects of her. So, but she doesn't want to have children, so she gets this thing done to make her want to have children. It's a weird premise. Number 3, Appendage. Interesting, bizarre film. Let me see where it is. Here it is. So, what's this movie all about? This one's also directed by a woman. After hitting a breaking point, Hannah's inner thoughts physicalize into a monstrous creature that threatens to upend her life. So, this movie kind of reminded me of what's it called? Basket Case. She gets like this, appendage. She has like this twin, so it's kind of like Malignant in a way. She's got this twin that like just grows out of her, like the side of her stomach. It's a strange sci-fi body horror film. It's like Basket Case with a twist, though. There is a twist in this movie that I actually didn't see coming. I liked that. The electronic retro score was great, and I liked the two friends in this. The two friends of the protagonist. But one of them had a shitty Drew Barrymore and Scream haircut, and the initial look of the appendage was goofy and rubber looking and hard to take seriously, which this film seems to want you to. With a premise like this, I was surprised how serious the movie took itself. It had quite a serious tone to it. Now the pacing is fast and doesn't really waste any time before introducing the twin. The protagonist is frustrating with her decisions and how she keeps everyone in the dark and then yells at them for not being able to understand her situation. Just tell them and show them what you have growing on you, for fuck's sake. It's annoying. You got nudity tease, but they don't show it. The Claudia character reveal was a surprise. The other appendages from the support group never really become a threat. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity. The interesting movie. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil too much. So yeah, she has this thing growing on her. She doesn't want to tell anybody about it, so she joins like a support group where everybody else has like this crazy thing, this crazy twin growing on them, and they try to they talk about it like it's a real thing. They try to give scientific explanations about how this thing could exist in real life. I didn't do any research. I doubt this thing could exist. But who knows? So yeah, crazy film. And number 2, my number 2 review. I don't know why it's listed as number 2 here. That's why I said that. So yeah, Slotherhouse. This is another crazy film about a killer sloth killing people one by one at a sorority house. It's PG-13, so don't expect much in the gore department. Like I said, this had a one-day release back in August. It was at my local theater. I chose to not go. And so, yeah, this movie, the plot synopsis says, wanting to have a killer year, sorority sister Emily Young realizes she might just be the best option for her sorority. While beginning her campaign, she finds an adorable sloth that steals her heart and soon realizes she just might steal the hearts and votes of her sorority sisters with it. But when bodies slowly begin to pile, dun dun dun, up pile up in the Sigma Lambda Theta house. Emily and her sorority sisters realize the deaths are being caused by their new house mascot, the cuddly sloth Alpha. And the sorority letters, I believe, spell out the word sloth. It's like SLT, so that's what they're going for there. So yeah, if Michael Myers were a three-toed sloth, this is what the movie would look like. That's what the sloth is. He's Michael Myers. He's fucking unstoppable. And somebody around here gave that motherfucker lessons, because the sloth in this movie is driving around. So you really just gotta check your brain at the door. This movie does not have any logic in it whatsoever. It's unbelievable, and it embraces its crazy premise. The sloth can read, use computers, take selfies, drive a car, and obeys traffic laws, and knows how to hide bodies, and many other things. It knows how to read, it knows how to spell, and does hashtags. It does all kinds of crazy things. It can also be shot numerous times and thrown out a second-story window and be stabbed in the chest with a katana sword and survive. Like I said, Michael Myers. If he were a sloth, this is what it would be like. The second, what am I saying? The second has a montage of deaths. Oh, I meant to write the second act. The second act has a montage of deaths over like a 2-week period, and no one ever discovers the bodies. So obviously this thing's hiding them. Or just no one's like opening the doors to these people's bedrooms to find their bodies. Like, I guess they really respect each other's privacy. They just knock, no one answers. Oh well, moving on. Like, no one ever like fucking opened the door to see these dead bodies. The sorority house is more like the White House. It's fucking huge. They allow boys at the place during rush week, which I don't think would be allowed, and they wear cultish red hooded robes when voting for class president, which I don't believe is true to real life. But nothing in this movie is true to real life. It's a PG-13 movie, so there's the first mistake. It's hard to appreciate these kills when they're all off camera, goreless, titless. It's a movie. It's like a slasher at a sorority house. So you want to see these chicks naked. They're so gorgeous, but you're not going to see anybody naked in this. I couldn't care less about the subplot, about the whole voting for class president bullshit. Could not care. The house mother padlocks the front door for plot convenience sake, but yet the one friend easily just walks in, even though the house is padlocked. It's supposed to be like, inescapable. No one can leave. Someone was able to just walk on in. And with a broken leg, if I remember correctly. So yeah, that doesn't make sense. And what else? The main actress's dramatic acting was not convincing, and her boyfriend character was such a throwaway. You see him once toward the beginning, and you forget he existed until he just shows up randomly towards the end. The one sister talks and acts like a dude, which was super annoying to me and confusing, because I thought at first she was a guy, but then I'm pretty sure she's a girl. I don't know what was going on there. Was she a girl or a guy? I think she's a girl. Well, she had to be a girl to be staying at the sorority house, but for the longest time, I thought she was a guy. And she would keep saying, dude, like trying to talk like a bro. It was just annoying. I wanted to strangle that character. Most of the successful humor comes from the sloth. I like when it takes selfies with each victim, kind of like Art the Clown did. And if this had gore, some TNA from the beautiful college girls, and didn't have jarring, serious, dramatic moments in between, then this would have been a cult classic people would talk about for years to come. There was one scene where the music sounded like Malignant to me. So, that made my ears perk up and made me smile. Yeah, so that's all I gotta say about this. I don't want to talk too long about it. It's a fucking killer sloth movie. Alright, no one will save you. So, not can save you, will save you. This came out September 22nd on Hulu. And man, this movie, I've gone back and forth with my rating on this one. I was at a 3.5, then a 4 out of 5. Back to a 3.5. I don't know. Can't make up my mind on this one. Slotherhouse, that was a 2.5 out of 5. So that's just very meh to me. Was not a huge fan of Slotherhouse. So let's find No One Will Save You on this list. Here we go. All right, so who directed this one? Brian Duffield, who did Spontaneous, the movie where people just randomly blow up. Okay, so a young woman who's been alienated from her community finds herself in a face-off against a host of extraterrestrial beings who threaten her future while forcing her to deal with her past. So, the stars Kathleen Dever. All right, so this is a fast-paced adrenaline ride that starts super strong with an alien home invasion, but ends on a somewhat confusing, lackluster note. That was my main issue, was just the last like 5-10 minutes of the movie. First off, it's interesting how there's only a few words of dialogue spoken by the end, and it took me almost an hour to realize it. So that just tells you how into the movie I was. That the fact that no one was speaking for the first hour, or for most of it, it didn't really register until I was that far in. I was like, wait a minute, no one's even spoken a word. The sound design is amazing. The CGI aliens look really good, but kind of like generic classic aliens. They kind of got that look going on. Gray, skinny, big heads. But the CGI was pretty good. The way the forest was lit in one scene was beautiful, so you got some great cinematography. I like the look of it. The only downtime is in the second act, but it's never boring because you're curious where it's going after the home invasion. Suddenly it becomes a bigger problem, and it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The mystery of Maud, if you can call it that, is easy to call early on. She hardly speaks, and she's really the only character in the movie. The movie ends with her seemingly... wait, no, I don't want to say that. I write down spoilers sometimes, so I don't want to say anything. So yeah, that's all I'll say. Very fast-paced. There's a little bit of mystery about this character, Maud. She's like, at the beginning, she's writing letters to this character. But I called it pretty early, like what was going on with her and that character, where that was all going. So that didn't really surprise me. But yeah, anybody else not a fan of the ending? That was my biggest issue, was just it started so strong and then it just kind of went out on a whimper. But yeah, just that's what prevented it from being a 4 out of 5 for me, was just the ending. So that's all I gotta say about that. Now let's jump into these posters. I'm not going to talk about them. There's not much to say. I'm just going to show you all these posters. Number 25. Motel Hell. Takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent fritters, from 1980. Got a review for this one. I probably reviewed most of these movies I'm going to be showing you. So yeah, some of these I chose because of the artwork. Some of them are a little nostalgic, but it's all about the artwork at the end of the day. But here, I think the next one, if I can do, there we go. Trilogy of Terror 2. I chose this one for the list because this is nostalgic. This is a poster that used to scare the crap out of me walking by it. It used to be at like my local drug mart. They had like a small movie section back in the day, and this poster scared the shit out of me. And I never knew what movie it was until like a year or two ago. So for like 20 years, I could not remember what movie this was. So I had to do some like research and like, just type in horror movie posters from the 90s, early 2000s, and just go through the list. And I finally found it. Here it is. Trilogy of Terror 2. Number 23, Monkey Shines. Another one that kind of creeped me out walking by it in Hollywood Video. George Romero. It's probably my second favorite George Romero film. Great movie. Number 22, The Initiation. Really like this one because look at that. It's a candlestick, but it's a woman and her head's melting like wax off of her head. It just looks pretty cool. It's not that great of a slasher. It's all right, but that poster is probably the best thing about it. Number 21, Psychos in Love. This is hilarious. This is a hidden gem of a movie. It's a hilarious poster. You got two crazy people getting married. The husband is stabbing a woman in the heart, and the woman is chainsawing this guy's head clean off. This is a hidden gem from 1987. Check it out. It's pretty funny. It's hard to find, but I'm sure you can find it maybe on Tubi or someone uploaded it on YouTube. If so, highly recommend it. It's pretty funny. The Thing. Classic movie, classic poster. The light shining through the face, which never happens in the movie, so that's a little deceiving. That's not how the aliens look in the movie. Oh, yeah. Number 19. Do not like this movie at all. It's one of the weaker Christopher. Like, with this cast, this movie should be better. You got Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing. It's a 1970 horror film. It's horrible. It's so dull. Do not like it. But this poster, pretty cool. A person's looks like a naked woman falling into a vat of acid, and she turns into a skeleton. Number 18, more skeletons. I like skeletons in my posters. Visiting Hours, another movie I do not like. I think it's overrated. Some would say underrated, but fuck this movie. I just think it's so... For a slasher, it's not a good slasher. But if you go into it as like a thriller, maybe you'll enjoy it more. But yeah, Michael Ironside's great in it, but I just think it's so lackluster and dull. But this poster is pretty cool. I like that all the hospital, the rooms, they're lit up to make a pattern of a skull. Something that the Punisher does in all his movies. Always likes to light things up to look like a skull. Friday the 13th. I like this one. It's got, I like that it's a silhouette, and then within the silhouette is like a painting of all the characters that are actually in the movie. And if you look really closely in the window, you can kind of make out a face of the killer. So that's pretty cool. That's something I did not realize until probably a couple years ago. And Chopping Mall. This is just a goofy poster for a goofy movie, and deceiving in a way because it's about killer robots that do not have arms like the one you see in the poster. But I like that it has a shopping bag with a severed head inside. Video Dead, another movie I do not like, but I like the poster, and I believe that the poster for this movie was created before the movie was ever written or shot. So, interesting fact about that. And Alice, Sweet Alice, this is another one I always used to see at Hollywood Video growing up. You got the doll stabbed and blood's coming out of it, and you got the killer's mask inside the brown paper bag, just knocked over there. Pretty creepy mask and creepy poster. Child's Play 2, nostalgic, one of my favorite movies of all time, so I had to put it on the list. Probably the best poster, if not the best poster in this franchise. Had to, give some love to the Child's Play franchise in this video. So yeah, Child's Play 2. Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back. Maniac, the remake, this poster. There's a couple of different posters for this movie. One where it's like Frank in a room sitting down with all the mannequins around him. And then there's one that's like the rear view mirror, and it's got just like Frank's eyes in it. That one's really lame. This one's awesome. And it's, something from the movie, so it's not deceiving. It's pretty disturbing. A bloody scalp stapled to the scalp of the mannequin there. So pretty cool looking. Fright Night. I actually own this poster. I actually own Motel Hell, that poster also. So yeah, Fright Night. Not much to say about it other than it just looks cool. Looks awesome. You got the I believe that's the face right there in the center. That's the face of the main character's girlfriend at the end. She's got the big ass mouth, and then to the left and right, it looks like you got like a bunch of like other people's faces. And then you just got the vampire's house. It's pretty simple, but it looks cool. It's very atmospheric. I like it. Poltergeist, very iconic poster and an awesome movie. I just like the backlighting of it, and it's a pretty awesome moment from the movie. And what's that next to her? Like a teddy bear or something? Yeah, they're here. Awesome poster. Number 9. We're in the top 10 now. Number 9. Happy Birthday to Me. I like the look on this guy's face and the big ass tagline on it, talking about like 6 of the most bizarre murders, and John will never eat shish kebab the same again. And it's pretty funny because his name's not even John. And this character on the poster, it's an actual person from the movie, but that's not the character who even gets the shish kebab kill. So it's deceiving. So yeah, the best kill from the movie, definitely. And yeah, just very memorable poster. Drive-Thru. Reviewed this movie. This is a nostalgic movie also. I remember renting it Hollywood Video back in the day, and I just think it's a funny ass poster. You got the reflection of the killer on the axe, and it's axing a big old burger there. It's pretty funny, and it's like the ketchup is the blood, just squirting out of the burger. It's pretty funny. Halloween, the original Halloween. What I like about it, something it took me forever to realize, is that the pumpkin actually, it just looks like it's the hand and the knife duplicated again and again, but colored. So it's like I'm like moving my mouse as if you can see it, but you can't. But yeah, the pumpkin, it's also like it's the knife just repeated again and again. And the knuckles of the hand kind of look like Michael Myers' mask. So yeah, cool, awesome, iconic poster. Maniac, the other Maniac. So I got two of them on this list. I own this poster also, I believe. No, wait, no, I don't. Scratch that. I do not. I lied. I want to own this poster. So yeah, this one is the killer holding the scalp, and then the blood dripping on the floor, and it says, "I warned you not to go out tonight." And I love that in the remake they actually pay homage to this poster with a certain shot in the movie. I thought that was awesome. Number 5, top 5, Silent Night, Deadly Night. You got Santa going down a chimney with an axe instead of a bag of toys, and so it's a little silly, but the movie's a little cheesy. It's a pretty cool poster. Number 4, Bloody Birthday. Another birthday horror movie. This one, it's pretty funny also. It's a cake that's got blood around it. The candles are fingers, so that's creative. And if you look closely, there's actually razor blades in the cake as like decoration. So pretty funny. And one of the fingers looks like it's chopped in half. Might be like the thumb. Number 3, Creepshow. Another poster that's nostalgic. And another poster with a skull or skeleton. Yeah, pretty simple poster, but it's effective. I like it. It's just the creep from Creepshow handing out a ticket to the movie. It's pretty funny. The most fun you'll ever have being scared. Number 2, Sleepaway Camp. I do own this poster. It's a funny poster because it's a freaking knife stabbing a shoe, which never happens in the movies. I don't know why they chose to have the killer stabbing a shoe in the poster. Like, when they made this poster, what was going through their minds? I'm very curious. Like, who made this poster? What was their thought process? Like, oh, this will be scary. Stabbing the shoe with a bloody knife, and the shoe appears to be soaking wet. So what's up with that? Like, the shoe was like retrieved from the lake with the knife. Somebody lose a shoe, like all the water's dripping off of it, and then you got like the letter in the background, "Dear Mom and Dad." It's a pretty bizarre poster for a very bizarre, cheesy ass film. But number 1, April Fool's Day. I don't know why I almost said happy birthday. April Fool's Day. Another funny, creative, cool poster. I love that she's got the noose in her hair. Her hair has been, turned into a noose. It's been fashioned into a noose, and then she's got the knife that she's holding behind her back. And it's got all the actual actors in the poster, so it's not like a drawing, or it might be a drawing, but it's a pretty good drawing, or it might just be like a photo that they took of the cast around the table. And so yeah, I just think it's pretty funny, unique, and I just really like it. I mean, any of these could have been my number 1. My number 1 isn't necessarily my number 1. I just threw it here. All these are interchangeable. These top like 10 or so. These are all the best posters to me. I could give you 100 honorable mentions. I was going to have Jaws on this list at one point, but it just got booted off last second. The Burning right here. The Burning has another good poster with the shears, the sun in the back, backlighting the killer, the two in the middle kissing each other in the lake. That's another good poster. The Friday the 13th, the final chapter. I really like that poster. That could have made the list. Child's Play 3, very simplistic, but scared me as a kid. So yeah, what are your favorite posters? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts on these movies I talked about from Hulu? Let me know. I don't know what the next video will be. As always, I don't plan this shit out in advance. But yeah, so post all your thoughts in the comments below. And I guess in the meantime, I don't know. Adios.